there. We're absolutely going to leave. I don't even mind it. Welcome into tonight's show. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're hitting that like button, doing all that good stuff. We got a loaded program for you guys tonight, as per usual. We're going to talk some Jim Harbaugh. And I'm going to be honest, I've been watching a lot of Modern Family. Jim Harbaugh is so Phil Dunphy. Jim Harbaugh looks like he does cardio in between meetings, but all cardio really is him just jumping up and down really fast on a mini trampoline. Jim Harbaugh looks like he performs magic tricks at parties. Jim Harbaugh looks like he also hosts said parties that are dressed like, quote, themes, right? Dressed like the 90s with Jim Harbaugh and his wife. That's Jim Harbaugh to me, right? We're going to grind some tape as well tonight, but we're definitely going to talk about Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is great. I love him. I think he's quite a philosopher of football, and I don't mind taking stabs at a guy who wears khakis like that all the time, everywhere he goes. I mean, khakis in the summer at camps, khakis with no shirt when he takes it off and it gets too hot. I bet my man cuts the grass in a pair of khakis. That's the kind of khaki man that man is. Jim Harbaugh looks like he says, "My name is Jim, and I'll be eating." When the waitress name, walks over and says, "Hi, my name is Nancy, and I'll be taking your order tonight." But Jim Harbaugh was in the news today, obviously. If you weren't paying attention, Jim Harbaugh was in the news because they implemented, per reports, a new period during practice called Beat Georgia period. Apparently, they already have a period called Beat Ohio State in their practice schedules and all that good stuff. And look, as many jokes as I've taken already tonight at Jim Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh looks like he wants to pull off a cowboy hat. As many jokes as I've tried to take at Jim Harbaugh tonight, I am not one to question his football philosophy. I think he is brilliant. I think he is someone that understands young men. I think he is someone who understands organizational football, right? He understands how to create a place where positive things happen around football. I think he is one of the best 5 to 10, 5 to 6, 5 to 7, wherever you rank him, football coaches in all of America. That's what I think of him. I think he is also an NFL caliber football coach, one of the very few that can have success on the NFL and have success on the college ranks. Okay. I just don't understand this one Beat Georgia, but there's not a ton of information about it. So I'm going to tell you what I think this period could be about. And I'm going to tell you right now, Michigan's problem ain't Georgia. Michigan's problem is not beating Georgia. That's not been the problem over the last 2 years. The last 2 years is the fact that Michigan's problem is that they play like a big bad bully for 13 weeks out of the season, only to get their ass stuffed in a locker the moment they acquire or run upon another bully, another big bad dude, another person that plays with a little bit of skew about them. Right? Michigan plays like a big Billy Badass for 13 weeks and then shows up, Fiesta Bowl, gets stuffed in a locker for 2 quarters against TCU. You know what I mean? They go scoreless in the first half, get shut out against a program offensively, against a program like TCU. They get absolutely bitch slapped by an odd front from the Big 12. Okay? The Joe Moore, the 2-time award-winning Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, gave up 4 sacks to 1 player against TCU this year. Your problem is not just beating Georgia. Your problem is playing like Michigan for 13 weeks out of the year and then playing like Purdue when the playoffs come on. That's been the problem over the last 2 years. The problem, again, is playing like this big bully until someone else shows up and stuffs it down your face. Against Georgia last year, or 2 years ago, rather, okay, best damn offensive line in the country, so we're told. Joe Moore award winning, so we're told. I mean, they get their damn face mask bent in for 4 quarters against that Georgia football program. They gained 91 yards on the ground on 27 attempts against that Georgia football team. Okay? That's what that last period ought to be about in Michigan. How do we figure out how to not, it's a lack of a better term, how do we figure out how to not play like frauds for portions of the football game when the biggest games arrive? How do we make sure that happens and stay true to our identity and have success with our identity when the biggest games arise? If that question doesn't get answered, then I mean, that's the problem. It's not beating Georgia. So it is beating Ohio State because you got to do that to get into the college football playoff. But your problem the last 2 years of college football playoff experience at Michigan is you have not played to who you have played like to get up to that point. Okay. So put some type of period in that does that. Okay. Again, I think Michigan's a top 5 program, unquestionably top 5 program in college football right now. We're talking about them getting over the last hump. They've already climbed the mountain. Now it's about climbing and keeping the pickaxe into the mountain and getting to the peak of that sucker. This ain't about getting from 8-5 to 12-0, 13-0 going into the Big Ten, college football playoff. They've done that. They figured that part out. That's the hardest part. Now we're talking about the last 5%. The last 5% is showing up and showing out like you're supposed to at that last moment. And they have failed to do that the last 2 years. And it ain't got nothing to do, like I said, with beating the University of Georgia. Oh, hey there. What you just watched was a portion of our live broadcast, Nothing But Rants, NBR, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. They're not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. If you want to join us live, we are live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. here on the channel. Please subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you like it, there's probably more in one of these windows. We'll see you next time.